Sadhguru, what is a creative mind?
Oh, how big an answer do you want?
As big as you want it.
See, the English word mind doesn't say anything. Because it's just one generic word which does not describe different dimensions of what the mind is. Mind is not just one something sitting here and doing something, okay? There is really no such thing as mind. In the yogic culture, there is no mind. There is a physical body, there is a mental body. Because what you're calling as mind right now is a certain combination of memory and intelligence. There is memory in your body, more memory in your body than you can imagine. If I have to get at you again, it's okay, I'm picking on you, okay? You definitely don't remember how your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother looked like, but her nose is sitting on your face right now. Yes? You don't remember a thing consciously, but your body remembers 100%. How 10 generations ago your grandmother was, your body still remembers. 1,000,000 years ago how your forefathers were, your body remembers, isn't it? It's not forgotten and it's not going to forget. Your mind is not capable of this kind of memory. Your body has 1,000,000,000,000 times more memory than your so-called brain. This whole shift towards the brain and intellectual process is a European malice. They gave too much significance to thought. This has happened because they lived under a subjugated society, religiously subjugated society where you're not supposed to think anything except what's written in some book, otherwise you're dead. They lived like this for a long time. Because of this, when they got little freedom to think and manage to live, they started celebrating their thought too much. Let's understand the context of thought. You can only think from the data that you already have gathered. That means you can never think anything new. You can recycle it, you can rehash it, you can produce permutations and combinations of it, but you cannot think something absolutely new. It is not in the nature of the thought to come up with something new. It can only recycle the past. That means if you dedicate yourself to your thought process, if you enshrine your thought process, you're ensuring nothing new ever happens in your life. So thought need not be celebrated like this. That's why in this culture, thought has never been given so much significance. What you think is your psychological drama. We don't think much about that because it's your drama is important for you, somebody else's drama, it's important for them. Everybody thinks their drama is the most important drama in the universe. This is everybody's experience because they're so identified with their own psychological drama. This psychological drama should not determine the nature of your life because this is just a small happening compared to the life process. Life is a much deeper intelligence than intellect. We can look at… the yogic system looks at the mind as 16 parts. Those 16 parts are further broken and they're taken up to 84,000 parts. But now if I talk about 84,000, already there's a segment which says no, so I will make it 4. I'm taking away 80, okay? I'm being fair to you. Only 4. 4 fundamental parts. One is the intellect, which we have in modern world, in today's world, we are unnecessarily giving too much significance to intellect and we will pay an enormous price for this. You will come to a place where you'll know everything, but you'll know nothing of life significance, really. Today you will see this happening to children. For the first time, this generation you see, 10, 11-year-old or 12-year-old children, they look bored. When you were 10, 11, you did not know what is boredom, it was not possible. It was too exciting to be alive and looking around. You will see 10, 12-year-old children all looking bored because they've seen the cosmos through their phone screen. They know it all. And especially in the Western countries, you will see this happening at 8, 10. They're really bored, you will see in the school buses, they're all sitting on. bored. Because by the time you're 12, you already had one love affair, you know what is a break, you know how to all this recover from that, you tasted alcohol, you've seen this, probably you've gone into all kinds of physical things, and you know the cosmos. What more? By the time you're 15, there's really no purpose for you to exist for many of them. You should not be surprised if this culture continues. I'm not saying this is a prediction, it is something that I see beginning to happen. In another 50 or 100 years' time, if 25 to 50% of the people commit suicide, you should not be surprised. Because life needs some exuberance. If too much information happens to you without experience, that exuberance will be gone and a false sense of knowing becomes so strong in you. This is the danger of intellect, because intellect wants to dissect everything. Intellect is like a scalpel, the sharper it is, the better it is, it wants to dissect and know. Dissection works with some things, not with all aspects of life. If you want to know the poor frog, you remember? The poor frog that you crucified and cut, and great knowledge you acquired from all that torture is unbelievable. How much knowledge you know. For the torture that frog went through, how much knowledge you have acquired is quite unbelievable. All that you got to know. Now you got interest, suddenly you got interested, the mother that you had ignored, you want to know your mother today. Please get yourself a sharp knife, start the dissection. You may know everything about her liver, kidney, heart, but you won't have a mother left, that's all. So life cannot be known by breaking it up. You can know physical things by breaking it up. You cannot know life by breaking it into pieces. But this is the nature of the intellect. The whole modern science has evolved from human intellect. Because it's produced technological benefits, you can't argue against it, because people,
Yeah.
they think they're scientists, they know nothing about science. They're just enjoying their iPhone. They think they're scientists because they can do this. No, technology is fine, it's brought much comfort and convenience, but it will not bring life to us. So intellect is like this. Intellect will be useful only depending upon what it is identified with and what is held, what holds this, how steadily. So the next dimension of the mind, the first one is called as buddhi, which is the intellect, the second one is called as ahankara. Ahankara does not mean ego, this, that, it means the identity. Whatever you identified with, your intellect functions only around that. Simple, if you just identify with a nation, if you say, I'm an Indian, everything Indian looks beautiful. If you cross the border and you say you're something else, all that looks beautiful. So whatever you identified with, it's only with that the intellect functions. So ahankara is the identity. How consciously and how steadily your ahankara has been created will determine the effectiveness of your intellect. Just because it's sharp, it does not mean it'll be effective, because sharp intellect or a sharp knife can cause any amount of damage to you. If you have a sharp knife and you don't have a steady hand, you will cut yourself all over the place. That's all that's happening. Human suffering is just this. You don't know how to hold this intellect in your hand properly. Every day you're cutting yourself. All suffering is on self-help because your own mind causing this to you all the time. No matter what happens, people suffer, whichever way they suffer, because they don't know how to hold this intellect. If you had the mind of an earthworm, you would be quite peaceful. Yes? You're trying to do it in so many ways to reduce the sharpness of the intellect by drink, by drug, by overeating, by doing all kinds of things somehow to take away the sharpness because the damn thing hurts. It hurts not because that's its nature, it hurts because you do not know how to hold it. The next dimension of the mind is called as manas, which is a huge volume of memory. It is not here or there, entire body carries memory. So, manomaya kosha, this is called, a huge sack of memory. This memory is in various stacks, we'll not go into all these details considering some people have said a clear no. They don't want to have a mind, I'm sorry, they don't want to know anything about the mind. So the fourth dimension of the mind is called as chitta. Chitta means it's pure intellect. It is unsullied by memory. It has no trace of any kind of memory, it's just pure intelligence. If you touch this, then you have access to what you're referring to as the source of creation, because all kinds of things might have been fed to you. God is this, God is love, God is compassion, God is kind, whatever. Somebody come, stand on the edge of this stage, say all the prayer you want to say and fall. Let me see whether compassion happens to you or a cracked bone happens to you. I would like to check, all right? All these things have been made up because whatever somebody is deprived of, they will attribute that quality to their idea of God. Your ideas of God have come only because you do not know how this whole creation happened. Because you don't have an answer, you made it up. Because you're a human being, you said a big human being is sitting up there. Oh, how can you do all this? If somebody asks, he has 10 hands, so he does lot of things, not like you. Whatever, it's all right for children. But essentially because you do not know how creation happened, you are coming up with explanations. So that which is the source of creation, don't believe what I say, what anybody says. Pay attention to one piece of creation. Just take a flower, pay attention to this, pay an attention to a leaf or an atom or an ant. All you will see is phenomenal intelligence beyond anything you can imagine, yes? But nobody told you God is intelligence. But this culture has said this to you in many ways. They told you Chidakasha, Chidambara and so many things to tell you if you touch your chit, the whole existence becomes yours. Everything that's worth knowing is right here because you have access to the source of creation. So these are the four dimensions of your mind. Unfortunately, the modern education thinks by just feeding information and keeping the intellect reasonably sharp, everything is going to happen. No. You will rip this planet apart looking for well-being. You may lose the planet, or you may manage to go to another planet and start your work again there. But well-being will not happen. If well-being has to happen, you have to dig a little deeper into this one, otherwise, no.
One meaning of hatha, which we've already looked at, means tenacity to reshape the body, to, in a way, to re-engineer the whole system in a very fundamental way, takes a certain level of tenacity. This is not even for God, because it seems he took a holiday on Sunday. Yes. Shiva didn't, but from where you come, most of you, God took a break on Sunday, so he is not a hatha yogi, he cannot. Hatha yogi has a tenacity, there is no Sunday, Monday for him, he's on and on. Because if you don't do that, you cannot recreate a body which has already become an adult. This is recreating the body, means first time your body has been created largely from an information that has come from your parentage. What memory their bodies carried, what was one, two come together and a more complex memory system is formed every time a child is born. So the shape of the body, the tone of how your system is, everything largely shaped from this memory. Now, if you are in a certain way, there are ways to do this, we can actually set up long-term experiments if somebody is willing to fund and do, we can show. Right now you trace back, let's say, 5 generations ago, my great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather was a great guy. He was very intelligent, very physically fit and capable of many things. I want to become like him. We can do certain type of yoga so that we are able to largely take that part of the memory in your system. Maybe your father was a weak man, you don't want to be like him, you want to be like your great-great-grandfather. There are certain types of yogas to identify that memory and activate that memory to the maximum. That will not be the only one, but that will dominate. So yogic system looked at it this way, or another way is, generally the yogic system follows this. When the Saptarishis sat in front of Adiyogi, their only aspiration was, they wanted to become like him. They were not interested in fathers and grandfathers. So he said, we'll obliterate every other memory and you work on this. So the first step even today, people who take sannyas take is, there are certain processes to distance yourself from your genetic memory which comes from elsewhere. Because a little distance suddenly allows so much flexibility in the system. But if you take away the genetic memory, if you successfully alienate yourself from the genetic memory, you must be very conscious to reshape yourself the way you want. You must have the necessary sadhana. Otherwise, no memory, no consciousness, this will go… People may die soon. It's possible. If one distances himself from his genetic memory and does not do the necessary work that is needed to rebuild the system, his system may collapse within a certain period of time because it's the memory that is in the genetic substance which holds the body in a certain level of integrity. Why one person's body seems to be much more integrated than another, naturally, is essentially because of the type of memory that they carry. So in Hatha Yoga, we are not trying to, at least at this stage of doing things, we are not trying to distance from the genetic memory, we are trying to take the best that is there in us. There may be all kinds of people. Let's say if you look back last 25 generations, the family tree, if you look at it, if you look at the immediately previous generation, you are only concerned with 2 people, your father and your mother. But if you look little further, there are 150 guys who are contributing to your memory. Now, all these people, we don't know what kind of people they are. Some might have been very strong, some weak, some diseased, some healthy, some very focused, some all over the place. There could be all kinds of people in this tree. From what do you draw is an important thing, or how to draw the best from all this is an important thing. Hatha means, ha means sun, tha means moon. To draw directly from our parentage, essentially our parentage is sun and moon and planet. These are the 3. The planet is the womb, sun and moon in some way are impregnating and this is happening. If there is no sun, there would be no life. If there is no moon, life wouldn't be the way it is right now, it would be probably some other way. So these 3 dimensions are playing an important role. So one aspect of Hatha is to keep our parentage aside. My father, my grandfather, all these people, you keep them aside because ultimately all their lineage goes to sun and moon. You want to draw straight from that. That is what Hatha Yoga means. You bring such a balance that this intermediate transmission is lost and you draw directly from that as life was made. On the way, so much corruption has happened through millions of generations. You want to eliminate that and you want to draw straight from your father and mother. Sun is seen as the father, moon is seen as the mother. As we have been many times looking at this, our mothers have had the eligibility to become our mothers only because they were synchronized with the cycles of the moon. Otherwise, they would not be eligible to become our mothers. They could bear children only because of that. So, to directly associate with the original mother and the father, in between, in yoga we say in between is all corruption. All mix up, genetic and other memories, all kinds of things happened. Some might have been good, some might have been bad, all kinds of mixtures, we don't have control over that. So to draw directly from Ha and Ta, that is the sun and the moon. So, the nature of Hatha Yoga is to gradually connect with the sun and the moon, rather than you must check this after 2.5 years of practice. Sounds too long? Every day, 2.5 years if you practice, if you simply close your eyes like this, you must be able to say, what phase of moon is today? Because it's so manifest in your system. A Hatha yogi, if he closes his eyes, he must be able to say what phase of moon. There are other aspects of the sun one can know, which is more complex. But at least the moon phases one must know within himself. This is completely absent in people. That means totally disaligned with the original source of our physical manifestation. So physical is important if you want to do things in the world. If you just want to realize yourself and leave your body, there are other ways to do it. Simply like this we can have you pop, but don't do it in the ashram, okay? If it is just a question of realization, it can be done in so many ways. You want to be realized and you want to live powerfully, then Hatha becomes an important aspect.
Look, I have to congratulate you. You made it through a deep, unfiltered video. That takes attention, openness, and courage. So leave your city in the comments, or share a quote that stuck with you. If you feel this could help someone, send it their way. Thank you, Big Hug, and until next time.